All right, guys. Today we are going to talk about one of my favorite politicians that is in the modern era right now, and that is America's Uncle Tim Walz. Okay, you may remember him from his VP run alongside Kamala Harris, where they muzzled him, and as soon as they told him to stop being him, that's when her polls went down. However, in the beginning, when he was very first chosen to be the VP for Kamala Harris, there was a surge in the polls because the country thought that Kamala Harris was going to take on more of a left-wing agenda. And they got a little too big for their bridges and they muzzled Tim Walz. He kind of dropped the ball on the VP debate with JD. What are you going to do? He said he wasn't a debater. He wasn't, he's great at speeches, bad at debates. Something he needs to work on, but let's just get into his little clip on Donald Trump.
Called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator? It's because he is. It's because he is. Oh. The governor's being mean, and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce.
See, right here, this is what the Democratic Party needs. They need a person that's going to be meaner, more fierce, as he said, and just talk some shit, dude. Like, nowadays, in Trump's America, Trump brought into the sphere that you need to talk shit, and you need to talk shit well, in order to move your points along during rallies and speeches and presidential runs and things of that nature. Now, luckily, it's not working out for any of the Republican politicians like it did for Trump. So Trump may just have the juice. He may have the secret sauce. He got that riz. He got them MAGA girls rizzed up. And some of the boys probably. Who knows? I don't know. He's pretty zesty. He loves the YMCA. Just saying. But yeah, Tim Walz, he got his jokes. He got his jokes. He's the one that started the, Republicans are weird thing last year. During one of his speeches, he famously threw a jab at JD about fucking a couch, so he got the juice.
Because we have to ferociously push back on this. And again, I'll speak to my teacher colleagues in here. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the shit out of him back. You push back. You make sure they know it's not there. Because at heart, this is a weak, cruel man that takes it out and punches down on people. What they don't want to do is stand toe-to-toe and punch back with someone who's calling them out for what they do, who's being there. And
so Tim Walz, America's Uncle, he's the fucking man, dude. I love that guy. I mean, I hope he either runs for president in 2028 or jumps on board with like AOC. I think he would be a good VP slot for AOC. But you never know. Somebody like Tim Walz, if he got cooking, he might have something. He's not in any of the polls right now. I think right now Pete Buttigieg is number one in the polls. AOC's somewhere like 3, 4, maybe 2, but she's losing some juice right now just because she hasn't been in the spotlight since the oligarchy tour, which she was cooking on that. I'll give it to her. And we as a country, we need left-wing reform. As it stands, we're fucking cooked as a nation. We might even be so cooked as to seeing Donald Trump run for a third term in office, which would be actually ridiculous, unconstitutional, but Republicans do not look at the Constitution when it doesn't suit them. The only article of the Constitution they actually look at is the Second Amendment. They don't even really look at the First Amendment because they don't, besides freedom of speech, they don't know what the fuck else is in the First Amendment, But Tim Walz, he seems like a great guy. I hate to glaze politicians and stuff, but this is a guy that's been pro gay rights since the 90s, at least, on record. While he was a coach in high school, he's a U.S. veteran. He signed into law while he's governor right now, but during his term as governor, he signed into law marijuana acts, a lot of infrastructure. He's done voting reform. I believe they have a trigger law type deal when somebody turns like 16, 17, 18 years old in Minnesota, they're automatically registered to vote, which is such a fucking good thing to do. I mean, even if the kids aren't going to vote when they turn 18, they should at least be registered. They should get the pamphlets in the mail. They should get the ballots in the mail so they can read them over, or at least talk to, somebody close to them to help guide them through their voting. Now, I know you Republicans out there probably tell everybody in your life, if you don't vote Republican, you can fucking go die, and I never want to speak to you again. However, in my personal life, I want everybody to vote the way I'm voting, but I speak to people that ask me, hey, should I vote for this? This is what I believe. And even if it doesn't go with what I want, I say, well, you would probably want to do no on, ranked choice voting or whatever. But then it gives me a chance to talk to somebody and explain to them why I think something like ranked choice voting is a very good thing. That's something we had up in Oregon last run, and for some fucking reason, propaganda won out, and we did not get ranked choice voting through. Whose fault is that? I don't know. It's fucking annoying, but it's something we have to live with, and that's the democratic process. Propaganda and all. Anyways, let me know down in the comments below what you think of Tim Walz. Do you think he's just going to be another politician that flows into the ether and nobody speaks of again after his failed run with Kamala Harris? Or do you think he might be gearing up for something a little greater, like a presidential run in 2028? I would love to see it. I don't know if he actually wants to do it, but, can't always get what we want. If we got what we wanted all the time, we'd probably get like Jon Stewart and Bill Burr running together and have them as our next president, because I'd fucking take that in a heartbeat. Anyways, like the video if you like the video. A subscribe really helped the channel grow, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.